If you're a filmmaker or content creator in 2026, you need to start a podcast. Here's how. Hey filmmakers, Christian Fox here with another video for you. Today, I want to talk about audio-only podcasts and how to start one. If you're a filmmaker or content creator, this is for you. I do plan on doing a video down the road all about starting a video podcast, but I think if you're just starting out, then audio is the best thing to do because it's so easy and it's much better to start simple and then scale up. All right, let's get into it. Podcasts have been around for a super long time and continue to be one of the greatest ways to consume content. It's also a great way to get your brand and name out there, especially if you're just starting out on your filmmaking or content creation journey. The best thing about podcasts, though, is that they're super easy to make, especially if they're only audio. You can always scale up towards a video podcast down the road, but I suggest keeping things simple. Hey everyone, future me here, just wanted to jump in and say that I forgot to mention earlier in the video that this is all about starting a solo podcast, not one with multiple hosts or multiple guests. You can always have guests in your show, but I really recommend starting with a solo podcast because it's much easier. You don't have to worry about scheduling your time in relation to when other people can appear on the show. You can just jump in and record something whenever you have the chance or have the urge. Before you even think about the equipment that you need to record a podcast, the first thing you need to do is to pick a topic. The best topic are the topics or things that you can talk about forever, endlessly, to the point where your family's like, dude, we get it. We know you love this thing. Please stop talking to us about it. For me, that's filmmaking, because obviously I love filmmaking. That's why I have this channel. That's what I'm working towards. But my other big love in life is Star Trek. I can talk about Star Trek forever. I grew up with it. I love the franchise. And that's why I decided to pick Star Trek as my very first podcast, because I knew I could go on about it every week. And I knew that it's not something that I'm going to get tired of. So find that topic, find that thing that you're really interested in. Now that you have your topic, it's time to talk gear. The equipment that you need for an audio-only podcast, as with most things that you'll do in the whole content creation world, can scale with you. So you don't need to go out and buy the fanciest, most expensive equipment to start. You just need something that's cheap and affordable. If you're intrigued by podcasting but not sure if you want to commit, all you really need is your phone and a really, really cheap microphone. You can probably get like a $30 wired or wireless mic that you plug into your phone, and then you can record it directly onto your phone. And I keep saying phone. And that's great because it's really, really affordable. Granted, it might not be the most amazing audio quality ever, but sometimes it's really important just to get out there and start and have something that's a little bit imperfect, instead of just waiting until you have the perfect equipment and then end up not doing something. But if you are a little bit more serious about podcasting and do have some money to spend, then I'd recommend getting a USB-C mic that you can get for around like $50 to $100. Get them off of Amazon, plug it into your computer, and then you're good to go. The ones that I've used for a long time were a Samsung and a Moana. Those were great microphones, highly recommend them. They are a little bit more expensive, around $200, because they both have USB-C and they also have XLR, meaning you can plug it into your computer or you can plug it into a fancy audio interface. Both are great, but really there are just so many great options that you can get on Amazon that plug directly into your computer and you're not spending over $100. So really, really great stuff if you are looking for something that's a bit more elevated audio-wise, but you're not breaking the bank. Once you have your mic, all you really need to do is to connect it to your computer and use the onboard recorder or a free program like Audacity. And that's basically all you need to get going. But what if you're all in on podcasting and want to and have the means to buy the best so you don't really have to upgrade anymore? Then I would suggest getting the legendary Shure SM7B, the one that every podcaster seems to use and the one I'm using right now, and the Rodecaster Pro 2. The Shure SM7B is pricey, coming in over $500, but for me, it was worth every penny. I've been consistently blown away by it and have been using it for almost 5 years now. There's a newer model, the SM7BD, and that's a little bit more expensive, but I haven't used it, so I can't speak to the quality. The Rodecaster Pro 2, like the Shure SM7B, is a gold standard. I bought one of these bad boys back in 2022, shortly after they were announced, and I use it all the time. I use it for these videos, I use it for my Star Trek videos, and I use it for all of my podcasts. One of the great things about it is it does have phantom power, which is super helpful because it allows mics like the SM7B that require a little bit of extra gain to be used. The Rodecaster Pro 2 is a whopping $839 Canadian, but as with the Shure SM7B, it's been worth every penny. As with the SM7B, there are newer versions like the cheaper Duo that has 2 XLR inputs instead of the 4, or the Rodecaster Video and the Rodecaster Video S. But unfortunately, I have not had the pleasure of using those just yet. Rode, feel free to send one my way if you'd like. But as with all the gear that I talk about and recommend on this channel, I'm recommending things based on my own experience. So do some research and see what works for you, because what works for me might not work for you. There are a lot of editing programs out there like DaVinci Resolve, but since you're just doing audio and since you're just starting out, I would suggest something like Audacity because it's free and it's very easy to use. Alright, don't worry, you're almost there. All you need to do now is to pick a platform to distribute your podcast. Now, there are a lot of different options you can choose from, but I personally use Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is very affordable and has many different pricing options that are best for you. The great thing about Buzzsprout, as with its competitors, is that all you need to really do is just upload your episode and then they distribute it to the different podcast platforms, things like Apple Podcasts. You could also release an audio-only podcast on YouTube for free, but that doesn't give you as much reach. Now, pat yourself on the back because you have a podcast, or at least a really good plan to start a podcast. But if all of this podcasting sounds way too intensive and too confusing and too complicated, then check out my most recent video on photography where I talk about photography and why I think it's really good for filmmakers. Until next time, happy creating.